learn from the Wigan game. To me, when it was all square in the Wigan game and they went for a short kick-off that was too deep and didn't come off because of poor execution, gave Wigan the platform to then control the field position up to a point where they were able to kick a drop goal, and they did exactly the same thing in this game. It felt like a lack of learning from them there, and I know the short kick-off had paid off for them earlier on in the half, but there's a time to sit back and take what you can get, surely.
Yeah, well, there is. Yeah, that's a valid argument. But I mean, as an overall game, as a neutral, that it was just fantastic, wasn't it, to see? And if we end up back end of the season getting games like this in playoffs, Challenge Cup finals, then we'll be happy.
Loads of options for man of the match. Parcell, Cuthbertson, and Garbett from Leeds were particularly exceptional. For the Saints, Roby was brilliant. Lomax, Richardson, Percival, and Barber all had really good moments in the game. I thought Luke Thompson put in a very strong performance to stake his claim for the England front row. I think even Matty Lees, when he came onto the pitch, was ran some really good carries in there. He's starting to look a little bit more ready. He's starting to look a bit more physical, and that's really good for his development. So it was really thrilling game. It was very exciting, and Leeds were particularly unlucky. I thought that they couldn't finish the game off, but probably a couple of decisions they made themselves hurt them in that regard.
Yeah, so moving on to... Is that everything you got on this one?
That's everything I've got on this one. I didn't know if you had anything else at all?
No, I don't think. There's nothing else. I mentioned it all. So the only thing was on the drop goal itself.
Yep.
That was all created thanks to Thompson's work at getting the quick play of the ball and bringing that in and getting that space from tucking those defenders in. Yeah,
totally. Yeah.
It was set up by the platform the forwards laid, and then just gave the space to let Richardson come and take that field goal. And you could see, he said, "Yeah, I'm taking it. Thank you very much." The confidence from it, you'd be forgiven for someone of that age and in his, not a huge amount of experience behind him to try and pass it off to Barber or whatever, but he was quite happy, saying, no, it's mine, thank you very much.
Well, that drop goal, the confidence he would have been feeling from the conversion from Ryan Morgan's try as well from out wide will have helped him, keep continuing with that stepping that up, that level of I'm the man here, I'm confident I can lead us through this, I can finish this game off for us. And it does remind you so much of Sean Long in a lot of those ways, the tenacity, the kind of arrogance that as a fan of an opposition team you kind of find annoying, but you can see in as a fan of his team that's pretty decent. You can see why they buy into it, and he carries it because he's got the skills, he's got all the ability, he's got all the talent. He's a very clever rugby league player. This is the best time to touch on probably why he's not in the squad for the Denver game, because Barry McDermott shed a bit of light on that, didn't he, during the Sky coverage, to suggest that, not going so far as to saying Saints asked for him not to be selected, but that a conversation was had between the England leadership group of the Knights and the first team and the staff at St Helens, and probably thought that it's not the right time for his development to go and put him at that higher stage with that higher expectation.
Yeah, straight into expose him. Yeah, I think it would have been different if this had been a mid-season game against France, say, or a lesser nation. I think you could quite easily have seen it. He would have gone in, but I think because it is that added pressure and added exposure, that's probably where it's come from.
Yeah, exactly.
He will have,
and the last thing Saints would want, and the last thing for Danny Richardson's development, really, that any of us want to see, is him get some of that knocked out of him at this stage.
Exactly. We want this to grow and develop, and we want him to make his mistakes at this level, rather than have to be pushed into making the mistakes that he's going to make, because he will make them, and he has made a few this season.
No, exactly.
But you want him to make them at a level he feels comfortable at, and I think you can now say that he feels comfortable at Super League level, and you want him to make those mistakes, learn from those, build up some resilience.
Completely agree.
And then by the time he gets into the international setup, he's as rounded as he's going to get, and then we can coach him on from there.
No, I completely agree, and I think I get the calls from being in the squad because he is the Form 7 in Super League, but at the same time, he plays on the same side of the pitch as Widdop's been playing on, doesn't he? So
yeah. How much does that matter at international level?
No, I just sort of think if you put him in, but put him in the Gale position on the other side of the pitch. Danny Richardson's a confident player who actually is one of the few halves around Super League that I do think is a genuine whole of the pitch half rather than likes to play a side
left
or the
side,
other
right
side.
Yeah.
I certainly do agree with that, but at the same time, put him in a different structure, in a different place on the field slightly, not having that role of being the guy who people have got developed a confidence in, because there'll be people who've never played with him that would be in that England squad. I just think it's the right call for him to build as a young kid in his first real season being a regular Super League starter. I think it's the right call for him to build from that position, personally.
And even if he takes it badly, if he then uses that as motivation to play extra well and get in the side, then that's going to be good as well.
No, I completely agree. And if he does keep going at the way he's going, and Gale doesn't get back to form once he comes back from injury and things like that, I'd certainly have him in the side. I'd certainly have him in the squad at the end of the season, just for that exposure, even though it might mean he misses out on development opportunities with the Knights. I think that's where that's where I'd be seeing him. So, but then again, whatever happens, he's going to play. He's going to be involved in a rep squad come the end of the season.
He'll be in a squad somewhere, yeah.
And
because it may well be that actually the best thing for him is to go and play 3 games of 80 minutes and learn that on a different level. But it might, you don't know at this stage.
Definitely the best thing for him is to make his mistakes in a non-televised Super League game and learn from that in the video reviews with a coaching staff who are very supportive around him and that sort of stuff. And at the level where people might not hack it as much if he does. So I agree with you on that count. Okay, stats. This game had the most runs from dummy half and the most successful offloads of any game so far this season, with Leeds contributing significantly to both counts. It was also, at the time, the best for tackle bust / worst for missed tackles this year. Leeds made 100 more metres and had 1 fewer handling error, and gave away 5 fewer penalties, 2 in the game, but Saints threatened more when they did have the ball. They had 13 breaks to 4 and tackled better with a 4.4% better team success rate, although both sides were below 90% in that stat, the team tackle success stat, which isn't a great thing, but I think that speaks to the pace of the game. I think it's easier to have a bit of a small miss of a tackle in a very quick game, a quick game where there's offloads come in and that sort of stuff too. So that was all added to the excitement, I think, rather than criticising the quality of those players. Individually, Mark Percival with a try, 2 try assists, 12 tackle busts, 112 metres, 4 clean breaks. Johnny Lomax with a try, 5 tackle busts, 102 metres. James Roby, 48 tackles, 11 marker tackles, 112 metres. He went well both ways. And Luke Thompson, 120 metres. What do you notice there?
They're all players whose surnames are constants.
More to the point, they're all players on the plane
in
to
the
Denver,
England squad,
and they all played well leading into that game. For Leeds, they've only got 1 player on the plane to Denver, but that is Ryan Hall, who had 9 tackle busts and 154 metres. Mitch Garbutt continuing his injury comeback, a try, 165 metres, 4 successful offloads. It's a big boost to that lead side having him in there. Adam Cuthbertson, 41 tackles, 148 metres, 3 successful offloads. And Matt Parcell, who won the man of the match, and I don't think you can really argue with that, even though he was on the losing side. 2 try assists, 9 tackle busts, 175 metres, 4 successful offloads. He was a threat throughout. He was exciting throughout. He played a very, very good game of Rugby League, the best I've seen him play this year, probably by a way, actually. So well done to him getting some form together there. Okay, well, are we ready to move on to Saturday? There was a Saturday game this week. It was over at the KCOM in
Saturday evening, back to a more traditional time slot for Hull FC.
It was a 5 o'clock kickoff. and for the first hour of that, it was pleasant viewing for most people involved until a ridiculous downpour of rain. I don't know if you've seen any of the footage and pictures.
I've seen a couple of photos, and I've heard about some of it.
It was absolutely immense for about 3 minutes, and then just cleared up completely for the last 10 minutes of the game. But that 3 minutes was a very exciting period of the game. It finished Hull FC 10, Wigan Warriors 14. It was 8-6 to Wigan at half time. An impressive 13,256 fans were there to see it. Hull had a bit of a fan park on outside before the game, and they had special ticket offers as well to encourage people along. So the Hull FC fan base really did support this event, so well done to them for that. Robert Hicks was the referee. Do you want to start us with the first fan review?
Yep, AK Steel 69 said enjoyable but frustrating game. Both teams had chances to build a winning lead, but neither did, and in the end the result was decided on a lucky bounce. Rad's decision to play Connor at centre was a bit baffling and looked dangerous every time he had the ball. This is Sarah, you might want to turn the volume down at this point. Maybe we could clone him. 2 Connors, though, would be like having 2 wives. One can be loved, tolerated, and make you come regularly, but 2 would be fucking mental.
Joshua's granddad says, well, if Sarah's turned it down for that, just keep it down for a dad.
Keep it, yeah.
Joshua's granddad says, scrawny rectum bastard rat boy screws up his drop goal and a dubious pass later, and they get a try. First pie try, ref ignores view of in-goal judge and consults with old blindy touchy 40 yards away before giving it.
Was it old Tony Martin?
It was, and he didn't ignore the view of the in-goal touch judge. The in-goal touch,
and he must be in his 60s by now.
Tony Martin,
surely.
Maybe so.
He's been around forever.
The in-goal touch judge did the pose of a try because he stood bolt upright with his arms by his side. That's when they're happy with what they've seen.
Yeah.
What the referee had to check with Tony Martin was the onside offside, because it all came along at quite a pace, the break and the kick through for Sargent's try. So that's why he had to check that with the touch judge, just to clear things up. And it absolutely was grounded in goal, as photographs have proved. Anyway, he says, Joshua's granddad, John says, first pie try, ref ignores view of in-goal judge and consults with old blind touchy 40 yards away before giving it. Similar position for Kelly, and he couldn't wait to disallow. Lack of forward momentum and poor kick options cost Hull FC badly. Club late challenge on kicker again unpunished. I haven't seen footage back of the Kelly one that was ruled out, so I can't comment on that, but Tony Club's challenge wasn't late on Albert Kelly. He was trying to con a penalty at that late stage of the game and didn't get one, so fair call. What did Sarah have to say?
Yeah, Scoot said, our forwards didn't lay the platform for us to have the ability to trouble Wigan with an end of set play. Poor decision making led to incomplete sets. I think there are at least 3 John Batemans on the pitch. He was so involved.
Rich Langley said, sometimes you just lose to a better side on the day. Game management let FC down here, and having the best pre-match pub was just not enough. We needed Sneed on the park. Once this injury crisis abates, we'll be back. Losing Shawley was another nail in this game for us, and fighting for the top 4. Yeah, Shaw went off around about half time, really. He has, I can't remember what they said his injury was, but it seems like he carried it into the game and was maybe a bit of a doubt.
So aggravated it.
Yeah. But the curious thing with that, and it's kind of what AK Steele picked up on, Jake Connor started the game in the centre. I think that sort of made sense with Albert Kelly coming back in, and where they were with the other injuries and stuff. And the fact that Connor might have wanted to play there because that's his best shot of getting a starting place for England. But what happened when Shaw went off is Jack Logan came on and played full-back until the last 15 minutes or so when they swapped it to Connor. I'd have thought they'd have swapped it straight away to Connor, got him more involved in that position. He would have been able to be involved on both sides of the pitch. He was a big threat. Him and Kelly were the players that threatened to open things up, and Framo was very good at using his aggression all with the ball rather than without the ball, for Hull FC, after being lucky to be able to play in the game. I'd have said the way I'd judge this game, I suppose, is Hull scored the best tries and probably looked the most dangerous in the attacking area, but Wigan were much better at making and preventing meters. So Wigan found themselves in attacking positions a lot easier.